Hi guys, and welcome back to Page 3 Hot Topics. It's been a while. How are you, Jay and Chloe?
Amazing.
Good. Now, unfortunately, Daisy cannot make today's show. Technical difficulties, but we will go on. We will move forward. There's lots that we're going to be talking about today. Obviously, so much has happened in the past month, but we're going to go over the latest headlines from Tilly Ramsay to Little Mix, and then I hate to say it, but I dreaded the word lockdown. Yeah, restrictions galore. So we're going to get all into that today. But as usual, if you have any questions for the girls, then pop them in the comments below and we'll get them answered for you. So let's kick things off then. Now, I don't know if you've been watching Strictly, but Tilly Ramsay is on there, who is Gordon Ramsay's daughter. She is 19. And she was, well, I guess, bullied. Here she's back. She's back.
Amazing.
Now we are just talking about Tilly Ramsay. There's a picture of them both, Gordon and Tilly, looking very, very sweet, I have to say. Dad-daughter duo. But Tilly has received some abuse from a radio host who has branded her as chubby on live radio to a huge audience on LBC. Now, first off, what do you think about, I think he's in his 60s, calling a 19-year-old woman, young woman, chubby and commenting on her appearance? Anybody got any first initial reactions off that?
I just think it's disgusting. I mean, like, he's probably someone's granddad. Like, that's like my granddad, like, calling someone it. Like, it's just horrible. Like, the poor girl's going to feel insecure now. And, like, who are you to judge, like, at that age? I'm sorry. But, like, she's young. She's amazing. She's talented. I mean, just keep your opinions to yourself, you like. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, completely. And would you agree, both Jay and Daisy, on that one?
Yeah, massively. He wants to get like a disciplinary for that or something. That's really bad.
Yeah. And Daisy, do you have any finishing comments on what he said?
No, I agree on both what the girls are saying. You can't really go around just saying what you want about people. It's so damaging these days. Yeah.
And obviously, you know, we all know people experience sort of like eating disorders and stuff. And these are hugely detrimental to what happens in your childhood and as you're growing up, and people, you know, commenting on your appearance, etc. You know, she's 19. She's just been thrown in the spotlight. You know, she doesn't need anybody of any age, but particularly somebody who is a host on a radio show who has a really loyal listening audience, and everyone's entitled to their opinions, and that's what she said. But commenting on a woman's appearance, it's just old. I'm really tired of it, to be honest, girls, people commenting on women's appearances. But is it ever okay to comment on somebody else's size?
Never. I don't think ever. I'm sorry. Never.
Jay?
No.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Even if you mean it to come out well, it could still be taken the wrong way. I just don't think there's any point.
No. And Daisy, do you ever think there's a time, you know, if you're worried about your friend's weight or a family member's weight, do you think there is ever a right time?
I think if you ask, they're asking your opinion and your friend says, do I look nice in this? Do I not? Then, of course, you can comment on your friends if they have asked and they know it's coming from a place of love. But a stranger commenting on somebody else, I think, is a low blow.
Yeah. And I think that radio host is about the same age as Gordon as well. So I dread to think what Gordon's thinking about this whole situation. But Tilly's come out. Dr. Alex George, who was on Love Island, who now works for the government on various mental health campaigns and stuff, wrote a letter to LBC as well, asking them for a comment back on it. Now, he's obviously created a few headlines, but do you think there's too much pressure on female celebrities in particular to lose weight?
Yeah, definitely. They're under so much pressure. They're in the limelight. Like, they're expected to look like amazing because everyone's going to judge them all the time. But that is what they go in for. So yeah.
And you know, we speak about females as well, but also men come into this situation too. Do you feel like they get as much pressure as women in the spotlight?
Not as much, no. But I think they still get scrutinised, but definitely not as much as women. Women get it so badly.
Well, we've touched on this topic before about how dad bods is kind of glamorized and made to seem like this really, you know, sexy thing, like, oh, a dad bod, love that. But we never really see that with like a woman's bod, I don't think.
Yeah.
In the same sort of like sexy way, you know, we can always appreciate and embrace a woman's body and say how amazing she looks, you know. But I never think it's sort of in the same kind of light as that dad bod look.
We need a mum bod. A mum bod.
A mum bod.
That
A
sounds
mum bod,
nice,
right?
a mum bod.
Yeah, exactly. Daisy, do you have any comments on this? Do you think that women are put under too much heat about their weight?
I do think it's very much on women more, but don't you think for all the famous people and celebrities in the public eye, paps just love getting everyone from the worst angle that they possibly can? It's like, you know, we've all got our bad angles, but they just absolutely like thrive on getting the worst angle possible and making you look 5 times bigger. So I think half the pictures we see anyway is just what they want you to see.
Yeah, that is so true.
Yeah,
I didn't think of that. Yeah.
And obviously, you know, as page 3 models yourselves, have you ever felt pressure to look a certain way or lose weight for the camera per se?
All the time. I think when you're on the camera, it makes you look 10 times bigger than you are. But I feel that. I don't know if you girls feel it.
What?
I know if it's ever like a last minute, can you come in and can you shoot? And if you've had like a bloated week or you're not feeling like your best or 100% yourself, you're like, oh God, like I don't feel confident to be in the camera for in 2 days' time. But of course it's hard. Everyone looks, everyone's got an opinion and everyone judges at the end of the day, don't they?
Yeah. And Jay, have you ever experienced people commenting on, I don't know, your appearance in particular, or your weight or anything, and ever been exposed to like the bad side of page 3 modeling?
No, not really. I think on like my OnlyFans page before, I've had people say like, oh, don't lose any more weight, you know, you look too small. But you know, that's not an intentional thing. I think it's just like all about your lifestyle. I don't think I don't think anyone should ever comment whether it's skinny, you're too skinny or you're too big. But people don't know what's going on in your life, they don't know what you're going through, so they might think they're being helpful, but maybe not. But no,
completely. It's just better sometimes to keep your opinions to yourselves. But if you guys have got any comments on the Tilly Ramsay topic as such, or anything about women being in the spotlight and if there's too much pressure on them, or maybe you know, completely agree with, you know, being in the public eye, people should be able to comment on their appearance, etc., and that's what comes with it, then let us know in the comments and we'll get them answered. But moving on from Tilly Ramsay and on to Little Mix. Now, they've been all over the front pages past couple of weeks. Obviously, Jessie left the band, Jessie in the pink there. And, you know, she did a BBC documentary, as did Leanne, on various subjects. Now, since leaving, Jessie has pursued a singles career and she has come out with a new single, Boys, with Nicki Minaj. Now, everyone's sort of seen the video. It's had mixed reviews. And the term blackfishing has come up. Now, blackfishing is a term used to describe a white person taking on black cultural references. Now, this may be done through styles, makeup, or surgery. Now, one of the things that people picked up on was Jessie's tan in this video. She is evidently very, very tanned, and then obviously picking on what individual perceives to be the best stereotypical features of black heritage. Now, criticism tends to arise when there's like big sponsorship deals or lucrative deals behind it, and this is exactly what's happened. Now, Leanne did a documentary which did touch on this. And since then, Nicki and Jessie have had an Instagram live, and it did get a little bit heated, and there were, you know, laughing about Leanne. But it obviously has brought into the topic of blackfishing and Little Mix and perhaps splitting and all sorts. Now, that is just a short, condensed version, as obviously we've only got so much time today. But does anybody have any comments on Jessie's video? And do you think that she should be doing more and acknowledging perhaps, you know, the Black community and how they feel about things? Anyone got any comments on this?
I feel bad to say anything about Jessie now after she did that documentary, because I just feel like, I think anything she does, I don't think it's like a conscious, I don't think she wakes up and thinks, right, today I'm going to pretend to be a Black woman. I just think it happens, and I'm not defending her, but I don't know, maybe it's not really up to us to like comment and try and fix it. It's really like the people that were around her. Like a whole entire team were like, yeah, this is a really good idea. Let's get signed off for that. Like, so many people said it was okay. I think they're really the ones. Obviously, Jessie's to blame, but she's just a product of whatever. What's it called? Record label she's with. So I feel like we need to sit and slag off, because she's already said she's suicidal. So I'm not laughing at that, by the way. I'm just generally laughing. But yeah, she's already said she's going for a bit of madness. So I'm a bit like, really want to say it.
But that's the thing. So obviously one of the things that has come up is she's obviously done a documentary about bullying and the fact, you know, she was so open about her mental health. And then from that, obviously she did this live with Nicki Minaj and they were openly laughing about stuff. Now, I can't make up excuses for Jessie or for Nicki, but it did very much seem from the viewer's perspective that perhaps somebody who speaks about bullying and someone who speaks about mental health, that perhaps, you know, a woman, Leanne, who's just had a baby, maybe that wasn't the right road to go down. But then also I appreciate that, you know, Nicki was very much driving the conversation and Jessie was taking a back seat. So I kind of, you know, does anybody else have any comments on this? Do you think Jessie should have done more? Do you think Leanne and Jessie, you know, what do we think about this, girls? Because I know it's such a heavy topic, but is there any sort of like anything that you want to share on this, on your thoughts?
I know Jessie's been trolled a lot, and I just think like it's sad what people say about her. So I do feel really sorry for her, because she's like, she goes through a lot of trolling. I don't know why, but loads of people troll her like for her weight, and I do feel so sorry for her in that way.
Yeah,
I really do.
And Daisy, obviously, it was mentioned in the Instagram live that Leanne did actually take her to the side after their final video filming of their Little Mix single. It did mention this to her. And since then, obviously, there's been apparent screenshots sent to an influencer on Instagram about Jessie from Leanne. So it's all got really, really messy. But I mean, what would you say, Daisy, on this?
Do you know what? In the grand scheme of things, I think we've all had our friends. They spend so much time together. You can't get on with anybody 100% of the time, so you're gonna fall out. But unfortunately, with their argument, it's now in the public eye and everyone's got an opinion on it. Could you imagine time you fell out with one of your friends, or we've all done, that everyone has something to say about it and everyone, all your words got twisted? It's really hard, isn't it, for us to sit here and judge what was going on when we don't know the full story?
Yeah, that's the thing. We don't know the full story. You don't know where everyone's heads are at, which is why it's brought into discussion, you know, Little Mix perhaps splitting up. You know, every band at some point, whether it's Take That, Spice Girls, One Direction, you know, they all split up at some point to go, you know, do their own single careers. And like, you know, Leanne, I think, is on Drag Race tonight. So they are all experiencing their own individual, you know, passages as such. Do you think it's time, maybe, you know, Little Mix have had their time now, it's time to move on?
I think it would be good to see another new girl group, but I think the little kids love them, so I think they'd be really upset.
This is true. I personally, for one, am a little kid when I'm I'm the first on the dance floor. They do some really good songs.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see Jessie out the mix. And fair play to Jessie, that song actually does bang. It is good. It is good. Like I do like I can appreciate it as a good song. Oh, Ryan's got in touch. I'd be upset. Little Mix forever. Now Ryan is a massive Little Mix fan. So yeah, I think there is a massive community out there. And it's just sad that as you said, Daisy, you know, this has all come into the public spotlight, as it were, and they can't just have their private argument sort of in
we
their
should
own.
all be the new Little Mix, all of us.
Well, I'm here for it. And then we can just have our spats on Page 3 Hot Topics. That'll go down well. Out in the open. Exactly. But moving on from Little Mix now, and I don't know if you've seen, I don't know if you've been affected by this. In fact, just down my road a couple of weeks ago, the whole bridge was like blocked off. So that was good from Insulate Britain protesters. They have really wound up a few drivers, but they have made the headlines, which is exactly what they wanted to do. And we're talking about them now. So there we go. Now, obviously, they are doing this due to the fact that, you know, they want exposure on climate change. They want more stuff done by the government, you know, more extreme measures put in place to tackle climate change. So what are they doing? They're on the roads, they're sitting down in front of cars, and they're blocking drivers from being able to get anywhere. That's them there. Now, just off the bat, okay, what do we think about this tactic? Do we think it's a good tactic, or do we think it's a bad tactic and it's rubbing people up the wrong way?
I think it's crazy how they're blocking the roads, because like ambulances can't get through, people can't get to work and stuff like that. So I do think they need to think of another thing in their head to get their point across, because they're just like stopping everyone from getting everywhere, and it's just causing more arguments and stuff.
Yeah,
so I don't think they're going about it the right way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so this video here is showing a mum actually trying to get her son to school, and she gets out the car. Obviously, you've got the two protesters there, and she actually drives slightly into them. I mean, she drives into them slightly. She drives into them, and that woman obviously saying "ow, ow," like protesting, being like, "No, stop." So where do we stand on this? Obviously, people are extremely frustrated, but would you ever put your sort of like, I guess, pedal on the gas? Put on the gas, as it were.
Nudge out the way. People have got school to work to get to, appointments. Even if you're going to get your head, put a deposit down on that. Hospital, more serious things, and job interviews. That's a really terrible tactic of trying to get on into the press, onto the paper, when you're affecting everybody's lives. Like, yes, I understand they've got big cause, but yeah, no, I don't really blame her for putting her foot down. I'm not going to say I would have done the same, but
no. But then also, like, move out the road. You've been given ample warning, you know, move. Sophie's got in touch saying, shouldn't they be going after big companies rather than everyday people? That's a very good point. Lots of people who do hit the roads are literally just going to their job, or dropping their kids to school, or doing their daily, you know, errands. Tim Harvey said they should target people in power, not people going out their daily lives. Yeah, exactly. Yes. So Jay, if you were Insulate Britain's, I guess, CEO, organizer, what would you do instead of being on the roads, or would you carry on being on the roads?
I don't know. I think it's so hard. I don't have a clue. I think they need to maybe just do something different, because I just feel so bad for anyone that has like a urgent hospital appointment or something they can't miss. Like, I understand why that woman was trying to run them over. Like, I totally get it. Like, I don't understand why it's not an arrestable offence, like on the spot. Like, why aren't they just getting put in handcuffs and shoved in the back of vans? Like,
I think some protesters have actually been arrested for, I think, like public disorder kind of Now don't quote me on this, but some sort of law, they have been arrested at some of these events which have been taking place, and they have been removed. But obviously there are so many of them, and there are so many different events. I genuinely don't think the police know what to do with them, because they're not being violent. Yes, they're being extremely annoying and disturbing, but they're not actually being violent. Like, even in that video, I mean, the woman would have been, in the court of law, would have been perceived as being violent, not them.
So bad. I don't know.
Crazy.
What if there was something you had to get to?
Yeah.
You do. You want to physically drag them, but there's always more than one, so it wouldn't change your outcome.
No, that's the thing. So people are genuinely grabbing them off their rucksack, pulling them to the side of the road, and then you've got another one that comes in behind and then sits in their place.
Oh my!
I mean, I like, let's say I was trying to go to the hospital, or I was dropping, son at school or something. I'd be furious.
Yeah.
I'd be so angry. And that's why I think people are so divided on that video, because they can understand that woman's frustration. They completely understand it. They don't condone that behavior, but they can understand just how frustrated she is. And when you're stopping ambulances and stuff, and yes, their excuses, well, we're killing XYZ amount of people in the world, from climate change.
It's crazy.
That's their argument. But I mean, so many people are right, you should be going after the big companies, but how do you go after the big companies?
They just need to just leave it, I think. Like, just scrap the whole thing. Just
scrap it all. Scrap it all. Anyway, such a heavy topic, but if you guys have got any more comments on it, then do let us know. But in the meantime, we're going to move on from that to COVID. COVID cases on the rise. So obviously lots of us have been vaccinated now, but COVID cases are still going. We've got different variants, as we did in the summer going round. It's getting colder, so it's more likely that COVID will spread. It's it's an ongoing situation, and they are on the rise, and therefore we might be thinking about getting more restrictions in place, or should I say the government are. Girls, first off, what do you think about the government putting restrictions back on, either with COVID Plan B or COVID Plan C, whatever that means, going back on there and coming into our daily lives? I mean, we're already wearing masks. We've already got, travel tests and stuff. We're taking lateral flow tests. Thinking about more restrictions. Do you understand, or are you just like, absolutely not?
I mean,
go on, babe.
I mean, they could lock it down after the 30th of October because that's my birthday. But I just think, it's just crazy, isn't it? It just never ends. It's not going to end, is it? It's just going to keep going and going and going on. When is it going to end? I just don't know.
No, that's the thing. No one knows. But should we be taking more precautions now in the hope that it will stop, it going on for longer? Because if we all stuck to the precautions, then perhaps we wouldn't be looking at, more severe cautions going into next year. Tim got in touch. That's fine with me. I'm still wearing a mask and staying indoors unless it's essential. That's quite big, because I know, Tim, lots of people now are going out and sort of living life as per normally. But does anyone agree with Tim? Do you think that perhaps we should sort of slow down slightly and actually realise that COVID is still spreading? Daisy, what do you think?
I feel like, Tim, I feel bad that you're staying indoors and you're doing that because you feel like you need to protect yourself and everything. And I'm sure you've got all your reasons, but life is so short. We don't know what's going on in the world. We're all doing our best to now learn and live with this. It's one step forward and then 20 steps back. We've got to start somewhere. Everyone's just got to get used to it, protect themselves as much as they can. Like, if you want to go out and wear a mask, that's fine. If you don't, that's now not the law, so just do that. But everyone just needs to kind of get on with it now. Otherwise, we're all going to be like 50 and have missed out like the most enjoyable years of our lives.
Completely. Cooper said, I know it will end 2030. Please no. But it's right, we have to live with COVID now. That is just something we have to live with. if you think there should be any more restrictions in place, Jay, I'm going to come to you. I'm putting you under the heat today with all these questions. What restrictions would you put into place now, which without going into a full lockdown? Do you think there's anything that should be in place to stop and prevent the spread of coronavirus?
Maybe bring masks back, mandatory masks. Not that I would hate that personally. I hate wearing a mask. I'm not gonna lie. I do it, but I hate it. Maybe bring that back. Maybe I won't mention the vaccine because that's a really touchy subject. But I would say bring back mandatory masks and maybe look at. Maybe look at shutting the borders. I would hate that, but
now that is full lockdown mode. That is
but that is realistically.
I agree with Jess.
Yeah.
I mean, they've obviously opened the doors to America now too. So
oh my,
it's getting quite. Well, I guess we're just opening the doors to the world now, so that's good. But again, it'll be nice. Last year, so many people spent Christmas by themselves, and that cannot happen again this year. But then we also need to protect. It's the balance of everything that's going on. So, any final comments on a potential lockdown? Tim, my anxieties have got me stuck in a rut and quite nervous too. This is true. So many people's mental health has been affected by the pandemic, and people are still struggling to get back to normal, and it's brought up a lot of emotions and anxieties attached to that. So perhaps the government should be thinking more about investing in mental health.
Yes, very definitely.
We're with you, Tim, on that one. So I think that's all we've got time for today, but Tim, stay safe, stay well, and we can understand, and I will be back next week. Thank you so much, girls.
Oh, thank you. Bye.